The silence is warm. Your chair remembers you. Your bed clings to your shape like a desperate lover. And every day, without a wound, without a scream, a part of you rots. You call it peace. But it's the peace of a man sedated. The comfort that wraps around your bones isn't love. It's a slow burial. You've mistaken numbness for safety, stillness for control. But if you paid attention, really paid attention, you'd hear it. That low hum in your stomach, that faint pull in your chest. The warning. You're not resting. You're decaying. Here's the dilemma. Pain tells the truth. Comfort lies. Pain strips you naked. It forces a man to see what he really is and what he still fears becoming. But comfort flatters you, tells you you've earned it, that you deserve it, that you've made it. Comfort pats your head while it drains your fight. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words not from a temple or palace, but from the front lines of war. He was emperor, yes, but also a man surrounded by death, disease, betrayal. And yet he chose discipline, chose discomfort, chose truth over ease, because he understood something your generation has forgotten. The more comfortable you become, the less alive you are. And the more you avoid suffering, the more it becomes you. This is the paradox. You think comfort protects you, but it softens your instincts, weakens your will, and dissolves your edge. Until one day, you wake up and realize you haven't made a real decision in years. Just reactions, just habits, just patterns. You avoid pain, but you're not free. You're just untouched, unforged. Your muscles look full, but your soul is flaccid, because pain is the forge, and you haven't felt heat in a long, long time. Look at your life. Look closely. Everything that numbs you owns you. The screen you scroll to relax. The job you endure for security. The woman you stay with because it's not that bad. Every soft surface is a compromise. And every compromise is a self-burial. Comfort isn't neutral. It's ideological. It teaches you to fear effort, to demonize struggle, to mistake sedation for success. You stop feeling alive, not because you failed, but because you succeeded in building a life that feels good and means nothing. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said the pain isn't in the event, but in your judgment. He was pointing to your chains, because you weren't crushed by hardship. You were undone by your resistance to it. You fear discomfort because you think it's a threat, but it's your last chance to wake up. Most men today aren't broken by war or poverty or humiliation. They're broken by couches, by thermostats, by endless praise for doing nothing difficult. And they call this mental health. No, mental health is the man who knows how to suffer well. So the question isn't whether your life feels okay. It's whether it's building anything inside you. And if the answer is no, you don't need therapy. You need fire. Because the man you're supposed to become, he doesn't live in that comfort. He's trapped beneath it, screaming, waiting for you to suffer enough to find him. We grow up believing that peace is the goal, that if a man has silence, softness, routine, he's won. But Marcus Aurelius knew better. He saw comfort not as a reward, but as rot. He wrote in blood, not ink, with every reflection sharpened by war, betrayal, and plague. While you sip coffee in air-conditioned despair, Marcus stared down mortality. And what did he discover? That comfort isn't peace. It's avoidance. And avoidance breeds weakness. Here's the illusion. You think ease is a sign you're doing well. It's actually the signal that you've stopped growing. You think stability means strength. It often just means paralysis. Look deeper. Why do you reach for your phone the moment things go still? Why do you fill your weekends with plans that leave you empty? Why does every minor discomfort feel like a threat? Because you're not living. You're protecting a version of yourself too weak to be tested. Marcus wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." But your whole life is a project in evasion. 100 micro-decisions to dodge the hard thing, to delay the confrontation, to stay in the lukewarm bath until your soul forgets what heat feels like. Comfort is the invisible tyrant of the modern man. It's polite, polished, approved, but it steals your edges. And once your edges are gone, you can't cut through anything. Not your fear, not your lies, not even the boredom that's suffocating you. This is the trap. You think you chose your life, but comfort made the decisions. It told you what job was reasonable, what partner was safe, what version of yourself was realistic. But Marcus Aurelius understood. The voice that resists discomfort is not your protector. It's your jailer. It's the part of you that wants you soft, compliant, agreeable, so you never threaten the order of things. So here's what that voice won't tell you. Every moment of ease carries a hidden cost. It's not obvious, not immediate, but it's real. The cost is self-respect. Because deep down, you know when you've taken the easy way, when you avoided the difficult conversation, when you chose the comforting lie over the brutal truth. You can fake everything else, but not that. And this is what's breaking men. Not war, not loss, but the quiet, cumulative shame of unearned comfort. You weren't made to be constantly safe. You were made to sharpen, and sharpening requires friction. But modern life tells you the opposite. That if it hurts, it's wrong. If it's hard, it's unhealthy. If it's unknown, it's dangerous. So you end up like most men. Overstimulated but underchallenged. Comfortable but empty. Alive but not burning. And then you wonder why you feel nothing. Why everything feels like gray wallpaper. Why you can't cry anymore, or rage, or fight, or love with your full chest. It's because you've been numbed. Trained to seek sedation instead of confrontation. But Aurelius saw through it. He didn't write about conquering others. He wrote about conquering the self, through hardship. He knew the gods don't send suffering to punish. They send it to wake you. So every pain you've dodged, every challenge you've delayed, that's the ghost of who you were meant to be, staring through the glass, begging you to stop hiding behind the lie of, I'm fine. Because no, you're not fine. You're just untested. And a man who hasn't suffered for his values doesn't have values. He has slogans, quotes, t-shirts, but nothing in the blood. That's the cost of modern comfort. A body that looks alive, and a spirit that's already quit. You look in the mirror. You see the beard, the muscle, the posture. But it's not strength. It's armor. You built this face to be seen, not to see. You trained your body to be feared, not to feel. You mastered silence because words would give you away. Now ask yourself, what part of you would collapse if comfort disappeared tomorrow? What do you cling to that you secretly know is killing your hunger? Who would you be, stripped of convenience, stripped of roles, stripped of applause? The answer is why you stay numb. Because you've bet everything on the illusion that this peace means power. But Marcus Aurelius already crushed that lie 2,000 years ago. He faced death daily and didn't flinch because his identity wasn't built on ease. It was built on discipline, reflection, endurance. He knew that pain wasn't the enemy, the ego was. So here's the real question. Not, how do I feel better? But what am I avoiding by feeling good all the time? You avoid tension. You avoid discomfort. You avoid the inner silence where truth speaks. You say you want clarity, but clarity demands blood. It strips away your comforts until only the essential remains. And most of what you are isn't essential. It's adaptation. It's compensation. It's fear, dressed as ambition. Marcus called this training the soul. He didn't wait for chaos to test him. He tested himself, daily, with fasting, with cold, with solitude, because he knew, if you only grow when forced, you're a slave to circumstance. So let me ask you, when was the last time you did something painful on purpose? Not for reward, not for status, but just to face the part of you that still hides? You hide behind goals, behind next steps, behind being better. But growth isn't forward. It's downward, into your rot, into your avoidance, into the part of you that whispers, if I stop achieving, I'll disappear. That voice is your God now. You obey it more than truth, more than conscience, more than hunger. And you wonder why you feel like a ghost in your own life. Marcus Aurelius didn't speak of hustle. He spoke of stillness, not as escape, but as a blade. He sat with his pain until it told the truth, until it named his weakness, until it gave up its mask. You haven't done that. You've treated your suffering like a bug to fix. You've patched it with distractions. You've polished your cage and called it mindset. But deep down, there's a part of you that still screams when the room gets quiet. Not because you're broken, but because you're not supposed to be this comfortable. Comfort is not the enemy, but it is the test. It asks one question: will you soften or will you sharpen? Marcus answered with a life of restraint. He owned the world and chose self-control. You own a schedule and can't skip dessert. That's not judgment. It's exposure. Because this isn't about food, or workouts, or morning routines. It's about the part of you that begs to suffer with purpose and keeps getting silenced by the voice that says, maybe tomorrow. That voice is not you. It's your ghost, and you've made it king. The world is still soft, but you are not. You've stopped begging comfort to make you feel alive. Now you ask, what must I endure to become real again? Marcus Aurelius left no formulas, no promises, just one brutal framework. Live as if you were already dead. Why? Because a man who remembers death no longer negotiates with fear. He no longer delays the hard choice. He no longer clings to moods, opinions, or reputation. He acts, not emotionally, not reactively, not perfectly, but according to principle, no matter how it feels. You've built your life around preference. He built his around discipline. So here's your new reality. You don't need motivation. You need rituals that ignore your emotions. You don't need clarity. You need to move while confused. You don't need to feel ready. You need to act like a man who doesn't care if he's ready. This is the Stoic rebirth. Not into peace, into posture. You stop being the product of events, and you become the author of how you face them. How? Start where he did. Distinguish what is yours from what is not. Your feelings? Not yours. They happen, but you are not required to obey them. Your thoughts? Not yours. They pass like clouds. Your power is only in how you respond. Your time, your attention, your will. Those are yours. And if you reclaim them, you reclaim the only freedom that matters. Freedom is not the absence of control. It's the refusal to be ruled by anything internal or external. Marcus knew this. The world could collapse. His empire could betray him. His family could die. But his mind, his values, his response, no one could touch that. You say you want power. This is power, not control over others. Control over you when everything else is chaos. So you stop reacting. You stop venting. You stop explaining your pain and start transforming it into posture. Because pain is raw material, and posture is how you shape it. Think like a blacksmith. Your discomfort is the fire. Your fear is the hammer. And every act of restraint, every choice made against impulse. That's how the blade is forged. No one will do this for you. No one will clap. No one will understand. Good. That's what makes it sacred. Because here's the final truth Marcus taught. The one that poisons every excuse. You are always complicit in your own suffering. Not because pain is your fault, but because you choose what it becomes. It can become a wound, or it can become weight. And weight, lifted daily, makes you stronger. So you begin to rebuild like this. You suffer deliberately. You do what's hard on purpose, not for results, but for revolt. Against the part of you that surrendered, you start saying no. To comfort, to distraction, to the weak voice inside that says, not today. You live like Marcus, detached from outcome, obsessed with principle, unmoved by chaos. Not because it's pleasant, but because it's necessary. That's what separates men who rot in comfort from men who carve meaning out of ruin. There's no dramatic ending, no final breakthrough. Just this. You open your eyes, and now you see the rust. It's in your mornings, the delay between waking and moving, the negotiation with discipline, the lie that says, just 5 more minutes, you've earned it. It's in your choices, the way you say yes when you should walk, the way you soften your tone to fit the room, the way you hide your edge behind charm and call it maturity. Comfort didn't ruin you. You gave it the keys. And now you know. There will never be a moment when it's suddenly easy to live like a man. There will only be days when you choose, again, to stay sharp, to suffer well, to feel everything, and obey nothing. Marcus Aurelius didn't leave you a map. He left you a mirror. And if you keep staring into it long enough, you'll see what you've become. You'll see what you abandoned. You'll see what you still might resurrect, if you dare. Because the truth isn't buried. It's buried alive. Under the rituals you don't question. Under the softness you celebrate. Under the fake peace you confuse with strength. And now that you've seen it, you can't go back. So don't. Let the fire return. Let the silence become sacred again. Let the pain become a discipline instead of a diagnosis. No one will clap for this. No one will save you. But one day, maybe not soon, maybe not visibly, you'll feel it. The stillness inside you. Not comfort. Control. That's the man you were born to find. And now, the challenge. What's the most comforting lie you still catch yourself obeying, even after you know it's false? Leave it in the comments, and watch what happens when you name your cage.